Welcome to this Concise Webinar. Today's topic is SEO, Search Engine Optimization, and how to get found in Google. We look at how to find the right keywords and show you some handy tools we love. Then we look at On Page SEO, which is all about where to use your keywords on your web page for best SEO results. As I say, my name is Richard. I'm a Director of Concise, have been since July of this year. Gareth, introduce yourself to those few who don't know you.
Those who don't know me, founding director of Concise and technical checker. So if Richard starts talking a whole heap of nonsense, I will let you know and talk some more nonsense instead.
Yeah, so just a quick bit about the Concise webinars. We're setting these up. As I say, these are going to be now run every couple of weeks, and these are intended to be concise, obviously, but also educational, not full of sales pitches, not a lot of waffle, getting to the point and covering specific topics of things that hopefully are going to be useful. And if you've got any suggestions about topics, then we'd certainly love to hear from you about those. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping things. This session is being recorded and will be available for viewing. Now, this is an interactive session, as you can see there on the screen. Gareth is going to be running through some demos of some tools that we use. If you've got any searches that you would like to have done during that time, during the webinar, please type them into the chat box, and we will hopefully get to those as we and demonstrate how the tools work using those searches that you've got in mind. So I guess one thing that we'd love to tell you about is the SEO Magic Wand, and everyone seems to want one of these. It would be quite a useful thing if it existed, but the sad and bad news is there is no magic wand. This stuff takes time. Anyone who tells you that they can do SEO easily, guaranteeing results, and will show you on the first page of Google very quickly is generally playing with themselves or pulling your leg. The best way to get on the first page of Google if you want instant results is to use Google Ads. Organic search rankings takes a lot longer, but obviously once you're there, if you can maintain it, then you are able to get traffic to your website at no charge, which is obviously better than Google Ads. So there's a balance. For someone who wants instant results, use Google Ads. For someone who wants to build up over time so that you have traffic coming to your website, SEO, search engine optimization, is the way to go. And what we recommend to people is to use a balance. To start off with, you get the SEO work happening, but can balance that with Google Ads. And then once you start to get rankings for the searches that you're after, you then don't need to use as many ads typically. Okay, so let's get into it. To start with, the key to getting found in Google is to actually understand what your customers are searching for. This may seem very obvious, but a lot of people miss it. And what this goes to is the language of today is the search intent or the user's intent. What is it that the person who's searching actually wants to get? What is their goal? And what Google's getting very, very clever, as you probably already know that. That's no big secret. But Google's getting seriously clever, and it tries to assess what each of the searches is looking for, and then to deliver the results to meet that specific intent. So, and the intent can vary. It varies with text, whether they're doing a text search or a voice search, and obviously depending on where the person is in the buying process, whether they're just trying to research a topic or whether they're actually wanting to buy right now. And so it's about then making sure that you can understand the intent of the person and what keywords they use to do the searches, and then to deliver the content that satisfies that. And I guess the key here is the person's goal. Think about it. When somebody's searching, what is the goal? What is it they actually want? Now, there are some tools that are available, and some of them cost money. Some of them don't cost money, and some of them used to cost money. Used to be free, and now are going to be charged for. We'll tell you about one of those in just a minute. So SEMrush is very good. Our SEO guys at Concise use this along with various other tools, and this is something that you pay as a subscription for. It's very good. It's very powerful, and often it's overkill if you're trying to do SEO yourself. But it's certainly a handy thing. There are others as well. There's one called Keyword Sheeter that helps you identify a whole bunch of keywords that may be relevant, and its cousin, Keyword Shitter. This is another tool, and you can get bombarded with keywords. The tool we love is Keywords Everywhere. Now, this right now, and as of last night and in the last few days, when we put this presentation together for you, right now it's a free Chrome extension. We've actually noticed this morning that this free Chrome extension is now going to be paid for. As of the 1st of October, it's no longer free, and there is a small charge based on the number of keywords, searches and keywords that it delivers. And I think they're now going to charge $1 for every 10,000 keywords that it processes, partly because they've got costs. This interacts with Google and Google's API and pulls out information from Google. It is at the moment a free extension to Chrome. One of the key things and we strongly recommend it, we use it, and the fact that it's now going to be charged for won't stop us from using it, but it's just changes a teensy bit. So one of the key things with Keywords Everywhere is understanding that it's quite powerful, and Gareth will show you this in just a sec, but you can set your location. You can set the location that you want it to pull results for. This is a useful thing. As an example, if we did a search for how to build a dog kennel, with this extension turned off, the Google search just shows you what you normally expect. When it's turned on, it actually shows you the volume of searches that are done in a month in the location that you have selected. And it also shows you what Google estimates to be the likely cost per click that you'd need to bid to get an ad in there for this keyword, and also the competition for that. So this is really helpful information to start with, but Keywords Everywhere does more than that. It also shows you search volumes for related keywords, and not only that, but also for other terms that people also search for. So how to build a dog kennel, one of the related keywords, as you can see here, how to build a dog house. Okay, I thought they were called kennels, but it turns out a lot of people think they're called houses. And so it goes on. And the other terms that people also search for are particularly handy. So now, Gareth, over to you, mate. And you can do a little demo of how this one works.
Okay. Screen sharing now, assuming this works. Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, all good.
Yep, good. Okay, so the application only works in Google Chrome. So that's a browser. That's this little colored one down here. So if you're wanting to use this tool, you need to use Google Chrome. If you simply Google Keywords Everywhere or go to keywordseverywhere.com, you'll be able to follow the process to install it. Until last night, it was free, but as with all good things, someone needs to make a bit of money out of it at some point, but they are only charging $1 or so a month, so it's not the end of the world. Once it's installed, you'll get a little thing that pops up here with a little K in the top right-hand side, and you can turn it on and off. It can get quite annoying for some if you're sort of Googling for a new house or some cars or something, but otherwise you can turn it off. One key thing to point out is that there's a number of different locations. So if you're doing some research in Australia, make sure you've selected Australia. If you're a global business, you can click global, or there's Canada, India, New Zealand, South Africa, and so on. So I'm going to just click on Australia. And then what it does is every time you Google something, for example, pet warehouse, it will add a whole selection of data to these terms. So what Google has popped up here are related and suggested search words to do with pet warehouse. And you can see next to each one, there's a number that says 320/MO. That means that on average, over a 12-month period, there are 320 people a month in Australia searching for that term. The number next to it that says $1.10 is how much a cost per click bid would cost on average. It's not that accurate. So if you attended the webinar the other day, you would have learned about quality score and so on, and how that dramatically affects that price. If you didn't, there is a video recording of it that we can send you if you'd like to learn about that. And then the number on the end is actually a percentage, with 1 being the highest. So it's to do with how competitive that keyword is. So if it says 0.09 like this one does, then that's the equivalent of 9%. So that's a pretty easy one to compete on. In addition to that, you get a little strip that appears underneath the search here that gives you the volume for the term, again, the cost per click bid, and then the competition. There's a little star next to it, which allows you to add it to your favorite. So if you're doing this for your business and you selected 10 or so terms that you want to keep a track of, then you can add a little star. And then in the application itself, if you click back up here, it'll go into your My Keywords list. Finally, down on the right-hand side, as Richard mentioned just before, it will give you a whole heap of related keywords, and then things that people might also search for that it thinks are relevant. So it's a really handy tool to help people, or to help businesses or website owners work out what people are actually Googling and how competitive those things are.
And as of today, it now says there, keywords everywhere will be a paid tool from the 1st of October. So
there.
That only came in today.
There was a question from Kirsten just regarding voice search. So I'm just going to speak to that very quickly. And then Kirsten, if you want to follow up with me via email, I can point you into direction for some other tools. This is to do for everyone else's benefit with voice activation like Google Assistant or Google Home. So it's a complete change in the way that consumers use search engines. If I'm on my computer, I might just use the keywords like pet warehouse, but I would never say that in speech. So if I was to ask my Google Assistant, where is the nearest pet warehouse, it would always start with a question. So it would be, where is the something, or it might be, what is, or how much. So if you're doing keyword research and you want to make sure that your site ranks for voice search, you want to look at question-based searches. So for example, you could say to Google, okay, Google, how much do flights to New York cost? Like that. And then you could then do some keyword research based on that. And I don't know if you can hear my microphone in the background, but my little Google Home is trying to answer that at the moment. So yeah, it's listening constantly. So just keep that in mind. Anything else you want me to cover on that, Richard?
No, that's good.
Okay, end of sharing.
Okay. Alrighty. So the next question really is where to use keywords on the page, and some of this will be like a lot of this you may already know, but hopefully there'll be some distinctions around that. So there are various elements in which to use the keywords. One of those, some of those relate to where the keywords are shown. So this is an extract from Google's search engine results page, obviously. The question I typed in is, what is the best dog food? And so what came up for this is these particular entries. And what you can see is that the information that is on a particular page has got the keywords in it and is being used in the page title, in the page URL, in the meta description, and if there are categories, then it can be also used in the category page names. Now, the meta description specifically is not used for search engine optimization. Google doesn't place any value on the use of keywords in the meta description, but as you can see, it appears in the search engine results page in the snippet. And so that the purpose of the meta description in this case is to make the snippet enticing so that people actually click on it. And so where to use the keywords, the page title, page URL, the description, the page category names. If we then clicked on that particular page, what you can see then is that the keywords are also used in other places. The header tags, the H1, H2, and H3 header tags, the image, the name of the image, and also the file, the alt tag that goes along with the image. Obviously using keywords in text content, if you're going to be having videos, and if you've got links on the page, then all of this can help the ranking for the keyword within Google. So now we're going to introduce you to another one of our tools, and this is called SEO Meta in one click. That's its name. This is a free extension, and as far as we know, it's not going to change to be paid on the 1st of October. So to look at this one, if we looked at that same page and turn this particular extension tool on and activate it, what it will then show is the metadata about that particular page. And as you can see, it's got this information here about the title. You can easily see the description. You can see how they've used various things. This is just a snapshot, screenshot. Gareth is now going to do a little quick demo of this particular extension tool.
Okay, Gareth signing in again.
Over to you, Gareth.
Okay, see my screen okay, Richard?
It is coming to me now.
Okay, great. So this is a website that we picked. Again, this only works in Google Chrome, and once you've installed the extension, it pops up here in the top right-hand side, and then you can click on this, and then it'll load up some information. So, for example, the title, the meta description here, if there are any keywords that it's picked up on the page, what the URL of the page is, some other information, some headings, how many heading tags there are. A lot of this can be fairly quite technical, but it is, once you've sort of started playing with it for about 10 years, you'll find that you'll know it off the top of your head.
Gareth, can you just go through those tabs, headers and images?
Sure. So headers, these are the heading 1, heading 2, so on, etc. And what is, so it condenses the page, and it's really quite a good tool for auditing as well. Images, it shows you how many images it's picked up on the page, how many don't have an alt tag, how many don't have a title. There's also links to running a page speed test in there. There are links to and from inside the site, how many, ones that are unique, ones that don't have a title, if there's any errors. There are social links as well. Sometimes it's not entirely accurate, so just don't take it as gospel, but it's pretty close. And there are some also further tools that it links to quite nicely. I'm just going to show one other thing that is also quite handy from Keywords Everywhere. And if you click the app extension and click the one that says Analyze Page, it will load up another screen, which will do a check of the page that you're on for all the keywords that are relevant on, or that it can find on that page, and then it'll tell you where it found it. So T for title, D for meta description, and then headings, and then density is a percentage based on how much of it finds on that page, how many occurrences, and then it'll give you all the monthly volume and cost per click data and competition again. So it's a very, very handy tool, well worth the $1 they're planning to charge.
Just on that, there's a couple of reasons for using these tools. One is to analyze your own pages and see what's going on your website, to understand what keywords keywords are in the page, and what you may need to add in or may want to add in for each particular page. The other thing to use these tools for is to analyze your competitors, to understand for a particular keyword expression, keyword that you want to rank for, understand who are the top 10 people who are or businesses that are already ranking for that, and then go in and analyze the top competitors who are ranking ahead of you, and understand what they're doing, where they're using the keywords and what keywords they're using. And by doing this analysis, and it does take time, but by doing that, you can understand why it is that your competitors' pages are getting ahead of you, and you can then start to do something about it. By the way, this session is not encompassing about every issue to do with SEO. There are other things that you need to be looking at. This is about on-page SEO, and there are other things you need to do with your website to make sure that Google thinks that your website is an authority on a particular topic. And that's going to be covered in another webinar. So this is not be all and end all of SEO and how to rank in Google. This helps you get an understanding of how to get your pages ranking, but there's a heap of other things to do to have Google understand that you're an authority in this particular topic, whatever it may be. Okay, so where to use these keywords? There's this is something that we aren't going through specifically in this webinar because this is concise, and we've produced this into a handout, a PDF, whereabouts to use the keywords and where not to use them, and also a mock-up of a page. And typically a good page article is somewhere between 400 and 1,500 words. Don't be frightened of long content. And what we've got in this particular page mock-up is where to use the keywords, how to use them, where not to use them. If you want this is free to people who have attended this, free to everyone who's attended this webinar. It will be on the Concise website later on sometime, but for the moment, it's for webinar attendees only. If you want this, please send me an email and I will send it to you. No charge, no obligation, no nothing. But it's just we're just restricting who's getting this at the moment. The other thing that I should mention is that the clever webinar system here has added a little link at the top that you may see. If you want to have a chat about any of this stuff and you would like to schedule a chat with me about it, then you can click on that link and organize an appointment, like a meeting, 15-minute, 30-minute phone meeting, Skype meeting, whatever it may be, or in person, just to talk about your particular situation. So that's it from our Concise webinar. Now we've got some time for some questions. So if you've got any questions, please add them into the chat box.
I think I've answered the ones that have come through so far. A few people asked for the webinar link. I've pasted a link to the YouTube video in there. But if anyone has any keywords that they would like us to try on screen, then you're more than welcome. Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Okay.
So there's a question come through from Andy. Is it possible to still get good SEO results if my webpage is primarily images? Good question. Look, it's
the answer is yes, but it's harder.
It's harder, yeah. It's if you look at Google's websites, you'll notice that they're all full of text, and they're pretty good at leading by example. There are ways around it. I would also encourage you to potentially look at ads instead, because the SEO becomes a fine line between a really nice looking website and one that ranks in Google, and depending on whether or not there's keyword volume for the type of words you're trying to come up under, you may find that if it's a very specific niche area in a niche location, it'll be far more cost effective to use Google Ads rather than trying to spend a whole heap of time and potentially money if you're going to pay a third party to do it, to try and optimize your site. Can be done, but more difficult.
Yeah. Okay. All righty.
All right. Thanks very much.
If you've got any other questions, please feel free to contact us after the session, schedule a chat, send an email or whatever. Just a quick thing, we do have a couple of other webinars coming up. On the 8th of October, how to write product descriptions for good SEO, and also to sell product, obviously. But there are some things that are really important to know about how to put product descriptions together. And on the 22nd of October, one of Gareth's favorite topics, how to set up goals in Google Analytics. And you can schedule yourself into that one if you want.
If you don't like maths, I'd suggest not attending that one.
Okay. So, yeah, if you want any more help, please give us a call, send us an email, get in touch somehow or other. And thanks again.
Thank you
for participating, for joining us in this, trusting us with your time. Thank you very much. And if we can help you in any way, just let us know.